I'm delighted to cross to Rosarito, Mexico, where we're joined by our friend, Thomas Markle, the father of the Duchess of Sussex.
What if the world has been told the wrong story about Meghan Markle's age? A single magazine page, a father's words, and a trail of contradictions may point to a timeline that doesn't quite add up. And if true, it could change how we see not just Meghan, but the monarchy itself. It all begins with a single page buried deep inside a 1997 issue of 17 magazine. Page 90, seemingly ordinary, filled with filler lines most people would skim past. But fans online noticed something that flipped Meghan Markle's entire timeline upside down. In that issue, Meghan was listed as 21 years old. On the surface, it looks harmless, a detail easy to overlook. But when you compare it to her official birth year of 1981, the numbers simply don't match. If Meghan was born in 1981, she would have been just 15 at the time, not 21. That's not a small error. That's a 6-year gap, and in the world of Hollywood and especially the monarchy, 6 years can change everything. What makes this so explosive is that it's not just a rumor circulating on social media. It's not a blurred screenshot or a Twitter conspiracy. This is ink on paper, a real publication that still sits in print archives, untouched, waiting to be verified by anyone willing to dig it up. And because it's real, because it exists outside of speculation, it carries a weight that whispers and gossip never could. Think about it. If Meghan really was 21 in 1997, then her carefully presented biography doesn't hold. Her Hollywood journey, her rise to fame, even her age at the royal wedding would all need to be rewritten. It's a detail so small yet so powerful that it cracks open the image of Meghan as the modern, glamorous Duchess. And here's the real twist. If a timeline as basic as a birth year can be blurred, then what else in Meghan's story might have been strategically adjusted? In most families, documents like birth certificates and graduation dates are just routine paperwork. But in royal life, those papers are bricks in the wall of dynasty. Every line, every date, every signature carries the weight of credibility. Which is why small changes can create massive ripples, and Meghan Markle's story is full of them. Take Archie's birth certificate. When Meghan and Harry's son was born, the official record listed her full name, Rachel Meghan Markle. Weeks later, without explanation, the document was quietly amended. Her given names were erased, leaving only the title, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. At the time, palace officials downplayed the change as a consistency matter. But to fans and commentators, it raised one unavoidable question. If a royal document can be rewritten after the fact, what else can be altered? Now place that alongside the 17 magazine discovery. One is a public archive, one is a palace record. Both appear to challenge Meghan's carefully polished timeline. And together, they form a dangerous pattern, a suggestion that even the most official records aren't immune to editing. For a monarchy that depends on absolute control, that's not a small problem. That's a credibility crisis waiting to erupt. This is where Thomas Markle's words land their heaviest blow.
Are you worried that Harry and Meghan might end up suing you for something you say, given you know they're very friendly with their lawyers, aren't they?
Well, they can sue me, but what are they going to get?
He isn't just claiming that his daughter has rewritten her own story. He's hinting that the palace itself might play a role in managing timelines. Think about the implications. If the birth certificate of a royal baby can be changed weeks after filing, why couldn't earlier records, even something as basic as Meghan's age, have been adjusted to fit a preferred narrative? And in the age of receipts, where fans can pull out archived magazines and compare side-by-sides, the contradictions can't just be buried. They spread. They go viral. They spark millions of views on TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube, where every small inconsistency becomes part of a much bigger puzzle. The palace wants to present stability. Meghan wants to project a modern, glamorous image, but the documents themselves, those bricks in the dynasty wall, may tell a different story. And the cracks are starting to show. If the magazine clue wasn't enough, Meghan's time at Northwestern University only deepens the mystery. On paper, everything looks perfectly polished. Meghan graduates in 2003 with a degree in theater and international studies. She's listed as a bright 22-year-old from Los Angeles, the perfect age and the perfect backstory for an aspiring actress. But alumni photos tell a different tale. In one salsa club snapshot from her college days, Meghan stands in the back row, smiling casually. At first glance, nothing unusual. But when you look closer, something feels off. Many of the classmates in that same photo are now in their mid-50s. That would place their birth years in the early 1970s, almost a full decade earlier than Meghan's official 1981 date. Were they simply older students? Or was Meghan closer in age to them than the palace would like us to believe? Fans online have been relentless in dissecting these breadcrumbs. Reunions, alumni lists, even side-by-side comparisons of her peers have been circulated. The math keeps raising questions. Was Meghan really the 22-year-old student her biography describes, or was her age carefully trimmed to keep the story consistent? The problem isn't just the number, it's the pattern. From 17 magazine to royal documents to her college photos, every time people dig deeper, the timeline feels less airtight. And in the world of Hollywood and royalty, once a crack shows, it doesn't take long for the whole narrative to come under fire. If there's one place where age is constantly rewritten, it's Hollywood. Casting directors have admitted it openly. The difference between being 29 or 35 can decide whether you're offered a romantic lead or pushed into mom roles. Trimming a few years isn't just vanity, it's survival. And Meghan Markle may have played that game better than most. Industry insiders say shaving 6 years off your age can completely transform your opportunities. At 29, you're competing with actresses in their 30s, often for supporting roles. But at 23, suddenly you're auditioning for ingenue parts, the kind that launch careers. If Meghan really was closer to 30 when she began landing television roles but was presented as being in her early 20s, that shift could have been career-defining, and it worked. Meghan entered Hollywood positioned as a fresh face, not a veteran still struggling to break through. That youthful framing carried through to her royal image too. In 2018, media coverage emphasized her being 36 at the altar, a glamorous modern bride in her mid-30s. But if she was actually in her early 40s, the story changes. Headlines would have shifted. Commentators might not have painted her as a symbol of young glamour entering the monarchy. Instead, she would have been framed as a seasoned woman redefining tradition. The stakes here go beyond casting calls. They touch on credibility. Hollywood may forgive an adjusted resume, but when you marry into the world's most scrutinized institution, every inconsistency becomes a scandal. Meghan's carefully managed age narrative, if that's what it is, didn't just boost her career. It helped shape how the monarchy itself was marketed to the world. What started as a single magazine footnote has exploded into one of the internet's most viral mysteries. Page 90 of 17 magazine may have been the spark, but social media poured gasoline on the fire. Platforms like Reddit, Twitter, and TikTok became battlegrounds where fans dissected every detail of Meghan's timeline. Entire threads appeared, where users compiled screenshots of alumni lists, magazine scans, and royal records side by side. One viral Reddit post drew thousands of comments, with users pointing out how Meghan's college photos didn't line up with her supposed age. TikTok compilations stitched together clips of Thomas Markle's interviews, adding captions that asked bluntly, "How old is Meghan Markle really?" Millions watched, shared, and debated. Suddenly, Meghan's age wasn't just a niche curiosity. It was a cultural talking point. Memes made the debate even harder to ignore. Some joked she had graduated high school twice, while others edited her onto the cover of 17 with the tagline, 21 going on 15. One viral Twitter thread compared her to Hollywood, legends who reinvented themselves. Rita Hayworth, born Margarita Cancino, became a completely new figure. Norma Jean became Marilyn Monroe. And maybe, some argued, Rachel Meghan Markle became younger. That single thread racked up more than 5 million views. Mainstream tabloids couldn't resist. Headlines hinted at timeline contradictions, while royal commentators debated on television whether the claims were sloppy editing or something more deliberate. Defenders of Meghan insisted magazines often made mistakes, and argued the entire discussion was exaggerated. But critics countered that it wasn't just one magazine, it was a pattern. Multiple breadcrumbs, from her father's claims to altered palace documents, suggested her timeline wasn't as stable as it looked. And here's where the danger lies. In the monarchy, image is everything. The institution depends on controlling its narrative, down to the smallest details. But in the age of viral receipts, even a whisper can grow into a full-blown scandal. Meghan's silence only amplified the noise. Supporters saw her refusal to engage as a smart move. Why feed the trolls? But critics called it avoidance, a refusal to answer questions that won't go away. Each day she stays quiet. Speculation deepens. Each meme, each viral TikTok, each tabloid headline cements the contradiction in the public mind. What began as whispers in online corners has now grown into wildfire. And once the internet locks onto a mystery, it rarely lets go. For Meghan, the age debate might seem like a personal scandal. But for the monarchy, it cuts much deeper, straight into the heart of credibility. Royal institutions thrive on control. Every press release, every anniversary photo, every detail of a royal wedding is managed with precision. The image must be flawless because credibility is the crown's greatest armor. But when Meghan's age is questioned, it's not just her biography at stake. It's the palace's ability to keep its facts straight. If a birth certificate can be quietly amended, if timelines don't align, then critics argue the monarchy's carefully polished image is nothing more than curation. And once that perception spreads, trust is almost impossible to repair. The parallels are striking. Royal commentators compared this to past embarrassments, Prince Andrew's disastrous BBC interview, or Diana's shocking revelations that blindsided the palace. In each case, the crisis wasn't just the event itself, but the loss of control over the story. Meghan's timeline, if proven shaky, would be another crack in the wall, and it's already happening. Online, the conversation has shifted from, "How old is Meghan?" to "What else might the palace be hiding?" Suddenly, the debate isn't about one woman's age. It's about the monarchy's ability to present truth. For an institution that has survived centuries by commanding trust, this is dangerous territory. The monarchy doesn't fall over one scandal, but each inconsistency weakens its foundation. Meghan's possible age gap might look small on paper. 6 years here, a document tweaked there, but symbolically, it represents something much bigger. The idea that even the royal family's facts may not be facts at all. By now, the debate over Meghan Markle's age is no longer just about numbers on a page. It has become part of her brand, a story that refuses to die, fueled by contradictions, silence, and endless speculation. Supporters call it unfair, dismissing it as tabloid noise. But critics argue that her refusal to address the claims only cements the mystery. And in today's viral culture, silence speaks louder than words. Fans online have started calling her Meghan the Mystery, a figure whose life story never fully lines up. Was she born in 1981, as official records claim, or in 1975 or 1976, as her father and archive documents suggest? The answer may never come, but the perception of doubt has already taken root. And perception is everything. The stakes extend far beyond Meghan herself. Every inconsistency chips away at the palace's aura of control. If the monarchy can't defend something as basic as a date of birth, what else could be curated behind the scenes? It's this uncertainty, more than the actual year on her birth certificate, that threatens royal credibility, and Meghan knows it. Her silence isn't just avoidance, it's strategy. By refusing to engage, she avoids giving oxygen to the fire. But the longer she waits, the more people interpret that silence as a cover-up. The narrative spins on its own, fueled by memes, TikToks, and headlines that keep the mystery alive. In the end, Meghan's age may never matter legally. It doesn't change her marriage, her titles, or her children's place in the line of succession. But it does change something just as powerful: trust. For fans, for critics, and for the monarchy itself. Because if a single magazine page can spark this much doubt, imagine what the next revelation could do.